that I've known I'm autistic for 4 years. That's really scary. Alright, I think I got my channel back up on YouTube. Yeah, look, there I am live. Okay, and we have chat now too. Okay, excellent. Now back to playing my stupid game. Andrea. That's a pretty name. I've always liked Andrea as a name. Okay. Beckett, how you doing? I wonder where my buddy Trevor is. I'm going to look on Discord and see if he's going to show up in Discord. He just might show up here. I'll see if he's awake. I'm spying on my buddy. I think he's online, which means he'll be showing up here after not too long. He may be talking to his girlfriend. Oh, all right. Okay. Book Linden. Good to see you. Hello, Brittany. So, I'm not really. I have no anything going on today. I am just fielding questions. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, I've been pretty much studying all these things: narcolepsy, POTS, Ehlers-Danlos, but in particular autism and ADHD. But I'm just taking questions on those today. That is, if anybody has any questions. Maybe nobody has any questions. That could be the case. Hello, Tim. Tim 812. How funny, it just said new messages and there's no new message. How does that work? Okay. Can I move the chat? No, I can't move the chat from TikTok. Or, excuse me. Hey, wait, maybe I can undock it. Pop out chat. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know I could do that. I just found something new on YouTube. All right. I was diagnosed 4 years ago at age 40. Well, actually 50. I discovered I was autistic at age 49, but it was just a few months later that I turned 50. And then I was diagnosed a few months after I turned 50. So it must have been like September, October, something like that. I have narcolepsy and I am very tired. I'm very tired. No, I have narcolepsy, but I have what's specifically called hypnagogic hallucinations. Kind of. Well, howdy, Elisa. No, thank you. Howdy. How you guys doing? I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. My son had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome also. That's also it's just like autism and Mark. Well, ADHD. You know the spectrum. Um, if one family member has Ehlers-Danlos, it's very likely that others are going to have Ehlers-Danlos also. Hello, Ashley. So I'm trying to take some questions. Um, I am going to a doctor to get. It's so weird because I already have a narcolepsy diagnosis, but I went to a pulmonary doctor, a lung doctor, and he wants to do a sleep study to make sure that I don't know. It makes zero sense to me. I already know that I've got narcolepsy. I've got the diagnosis already. I don't really need to go through a bunch of hoops and ladders. The problem is I'm trying to get on Social Security right now, and I have to um, basically prove that I have narcolepsy. So I'm going to have to go through this guy's hoops and all that stuff. Even though I do have the diagnosis, I just want to firm it up so that way. Yeah. They check me for sleep apnea, and I don't have sleep apnea. I do have restless leg syndrome, which I didn't put on there. There's so many I've got alexithymia and audio processing disorder and all these other little things. But you know, when you're autistic, nobody is just autistic. If someone is autistic, there are always comorbidities. There's always lots of other things. And this narcolepsy, POTS, Ehlers-Danlos, ADHD is like so typical. Those are some among, well, except for the narcolepsy. Although there are a lot of us that do have narcolepsy, um, it's very very typical for us to have POTS, Ehlers-Danlos, ADHD, things like that. But my this pulmonary doctor is wanting me to get a sleep study where I have to be there all day. Oh, you darn right. I'm getting everything. I'm getting everything documented. Then I actually take a copy with me, and then I take that to Social Security. And hopefully, after a while, it's been a couple of years now. They've been ho humming around with it. They really um, do everything they can to make sure that you don't get any benefits. And because I did work in my life, now they're like, well, what's wrong with you now? Yeah, I've got, what are these guys called? It's an attorney group. Uh, home front military because I'm a former Navy. Um, this group of attorneys, they help people to supposedly get Social Security, help with veterans benefits and things like that. They are an attorney group, so they're there to make money. Texas is a very different state. Um, Texas was really ahead of the curve when I was a kid, as far as having like school counselors and so forth, and they actually had special needs kept counselors. I went to I got special treatment. I was treated as a special kid, though, although they didn't call me a special kid. Oh, really? I did not know that Texas has one of the lowest disability approval rates. In the school in the 70s, they were pretty darn cool, actually, about having counselors and stuff like that. I imagine now they have IEPs and all kinds of stuff. Um, Colorado is really behind the curve on that, and they don't do very much social intervention, I guess. But as far as having autism and so forth, it's a great state. And I understand there's a lot of people that move to Colorado because of how, well, when they've got kids. What's our landing crew? Our landing crew, she lives right down about 45 minutes away from me in Colorado Springs, if you're familiar with our landing crew. And she moved to Colorado just because of basically our social system, our benefits. So at least there's that. At least there's a place to go. Not to say that Colorado's, I mean, I think Colorado's care is abysmal, but it's probably among the better states as far as getting health care for autism and so forth, and particularly kids. So, are you still in Texas now, or um, are you in another state that treats you a little bit better? I hope you are. Um, as far as the disability rates in Colorado, I have no idea how. I'm originally from Houston, but I tell you what, I moved out when I was 12. I moved here to Colorado, and I mean, I'm 54, just turned 54, and I do not miss Texas at all. I really don't. It was so prejudiced and backwoods in many, many ways, and now they're getting even worse. New England. I moved to Houston when I was 13. Yeah, that's about the time I moved out when I was 12. In fact, I don't really remember a lot about Houston except for that dang freeway. And I remember flying into Houston from Colorado, and I remember just tearing up and crying and crying and crying, and I couldn't stop tearing because of all the pollution. And my cousin's like, "Oh yeah, that's normal. You'll get used to it in a couple hours," and I did. But the pollution was so bad that it literally caused my eyes to tear. Oh yeah. Well, and they have smog. Smog in Houston. Smog is so nasty. Ew. The morning smog. Ugh. Which of course, for those that don't know what smog is, that's the pollution and fog all together, where it gets super humid and super gross. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, I had a nice little. I lived on a little farm there though in Spring, Texas. That Spring's just north of Houston. When I lived there, there's probably 30,000 there. Now I know that. Last I heard, like in the early '90s, was there's like 500,000 people. So it's changed just a little bit since I was a child. Not quite the same place. So, are you autistic, Ashley? Just out of curiosity? Watch, I'll get a strike. I actually got a strike on TikTok one time because we were having a conversation about autism, and this person was talking about their child, and I was like, "Oh, are you autistic?" And when I said that, I got a strike on my account. Yeah, I got a strike because I asked somebody that we were having a conversation about autism if they were in fact autistic too. Funny, funny. Oh, that's all right. I on TikTok, I don't really care anymore about my TikTok account, which is terrible. Because I've been shadow banned. I used to get thousands of views. Every video pretty much I got thousands of views. And then I made a video where I self-identified. I said I am a queer autistic atheist. And I got a strike for that for bullying because I was bullying myself. And after that I was shadow banned for bullying. And there's nothing I can do to change it because you can't talk to human beings or anything else. So I've been shadow banned for about 2 years. So that I've got like 30,000 followers, but I don't get any new. I get followers, but I don't get very many followers anymore because nobody sees my videos. They don't even show my videos. I get like 200 views or something like that, 300 views for my videos now instead of the thousands after I got shadow banned. So that's why my account looks really like I've got this cool account or whatever because I've got 30,000 followers, but actually my account sucks. And that's why I haven't posted very much for the last couple of months. Oh yeah, your wife has narcolepsy. Okay, I have hypnagogic hallucinations, which means that I dream before I go to sleep. So when I try to go to sleep, I start to dream, and then afterwards I fall asleep. And now the weird thing about that is these dreams that I have then are filed away as memories because to me it actually happened because I was awake and asleep at the same time. And if it's an innocuous thing, like I had coffee with a friend, maybe. If it's something that I would do normally and I dream it, I may never know that whatever it was never happened. And so that's kind of frustrating. But most times there's an elephant in the room, so to speak. And so you kind of know what's real and what's not real from your memory. I mean, obviously, if there was an elephant in the living room last night, that probably didn't happen. But I may remember seeing the elephant in the living room because I dreamt it while I was awake. So that's how I experienced my narcolepsy. And we were talking about the pulmonary doctor. What he wants me to do is do a daytime study. Yeah, I did. Now, there's something, it's not called hypnagogic hallucinations. It's called like gygogogic hallucinations or whatever. But that's where you wake up, but you're still dreaming. Now, that's only happened to me twice, and that was scary as hell. Because I actually was up walking around doing things, kind of like sleepwalking. And I was hallucinating the entire time. I made a doctor's appointment. and with this doctor, because I was like, man, I need psychological help. I'm not getting sleep, and and so I looked in the phone book. I called up. I made an appointment, and I went out there the next day because the appointment was the next day, and because the lady gave me, well, she told me where they were, and so I went there, and there was no building there, and then I called the number, and the number didn't work. And so then I called a friend to look it up in the phone book, and it wasn't in the phone book. I hallucinated everything. But I actually tried to show up to the doctor's appointment. Yeah, insomnia is my big problem, actually. Yeah, and that was the scary one. Because like I really acted on it, I really thought that I had called, but I was napping and I woke up, and I decided to call the doctor and all that stuff. But I was awake, I'm pretty sure, but I hallucinated doing everything. I don't even know if I was up and walking around or not. I think I was. I'm pretty sure I was, but I don't know. But right now, that's the reason I'm going to the sleep doctor, or to the pulmonary doctor, is because of the narcolepsy, and basically my sleep patterns suck. And the fact that I can drop out, like driving, things like that. I don't drive very much anymore. But it used to get a little dangerous. And it wasn't like I was falling asleep totally, but I would kind of nod a little bit sometimes when I would drive, and then I'd have to pull over or whatever and sleep for a little bit so I could function, because there are some times where it was really, really, really scary trying to get home. It's almost worse than being drunk. Yeah, that it was scary. Oh, and the thing is, I never did go off the road, but I hit the wake up bumps once or twice, and it's because I just dropped out, and that's when I was like, oh damn. That woke me up for long enough to get to a gas station or whatever I needed to do to get the sleep that I needed for a little bit. Yes, I have used the VA. I went to the VA. In fact, I'm very proud of this. The VA, when I first went to the VA, they did not have any doctors whatsoever that knew anything about autism. And I couldn't get a doctor, and I started a campaign for 3 years to I am totally losing my train of thought here, darn it. For 3 years, I tried to get a doctor that was qualified to treat an autistic person, a psychiatrist. Well, I found one, and I basically went to the VA. The way I ended up getting a psychiatrist, this is really sad. After my son committed suicide last October, I went to the VA and I told them this. I said, look, my son committed suicide. I am suicidal myself. I said, I need help now. I've been trying to get proper medical care as an autistic veteran for 3 years, and you have refused to give it to me. So this is what I'm going to do. On New Year, now this was October. This was September last year. I told them, I said, now I've been fighting them for 3 years to get a psychiatrist or a counselor, at least, that knew something about autism. And the thing is I told them, I says, you have tons of people that have experience in autism, because not everybody that worked at the VA just worked at the VA. A lot of them have almost everybody has prior experience somewhere else. And so there's a whole pool of psychiatrists and counselors throughout the world that can now, post-COVID, see anyone anywhere in the world via video, like a Skype or a Zoom meeting. And that's how most of my meetings go anyway with my psychiatrist. Well, so I told them, I says, all you have to do is send out a general email, say, hey, to your mental health people in the VA, to all the mental health departments. You just send an email. If you have any experience with autism, ADHD, please let us know, and we can put you on the list so that autistic patients can be seen by you, and basically explain that, that way you can do a video appointment. The thing is they would immediately have a list of qualified doctors and qualified counselors that at least have some kind of interest in it. Well, they refused to do that. So last September, I told them, this is what I'm going to do. I said, I've already put this out on TikTok, and I said, I am going to take my own life on New Year's Eve if I do not get the health care that I need. They arrested me. They arrested me. Yes. And the thing is they dropped, well, there weren't any charges. They basically dropped the trumped up charges they had. They illegally arrested me. But rather than give me the care I needed, they called the police and had me arrested because it pissed them off that I had the audacity to challenge them. And the thing is I was going to take my life. But I kept on calling up the VA and telling them that I was going to do that. And I did put it on social media that I was going to take my life on New Year's Eve out of pure protest of not getting the health care that I needed. No, they don't really care. But the thing is I got their attention with that because they didn't want to be embarrassed. So finally, they actually got me a qualified psychiatrist and a counselor that had dealt with autistic people, although the counselor was horrible. But now, this is the cool thing. The psychiatrist I got, she has one day a month set aside specifically to see autistic veterans. That did not happen until after all that ordeal with me threatening to take my life. And now she is the only psychiatrist in the Veterans Administration that specifically sees autistic veterans. And once again, she can see one in Guam. She can, on a video or what have you. So that's really cool. And so that was the final outcome of that. Yeah, and luckily I didn't have to take my life on it because I would have. I had a pure principle. I was so screwed up at that point in time after losing my son. I still screwed up, but my son was also autistic and he took his own life. And I told them, I said he didn't get the health care that he needed and he took his life. And that's the route I'm going. But yeah, it's sad that I had to go to that extent to literally threaten them. Basically, it was kind of like kind of what do you call it? Not extortion, coercion on my part. I was going to embarrass them. And I was going to make it, and I told them I was going to make it very clear that I told them I was going to take my life out of pure protest. And that was the big part. That They were going to know that I was intended on taking my life because I was not getting the medical care I needed. That was the big clincher. So they, if I had done that, I hope it would have made news somewhere. You know, and that's definitely not the rap they wanted. So all of a sudden they had to decide to get off their butts and help me. But it is a shame that I had to go to that extent. Well, actually, you know what's really funny? As soon as I got all that straightened out, I ended up finding a clinic. It's a developmental disabilities clinic. It is a medical clinic just for the developmentally impaired. And if you're not CP or if you're not if you're not Down syndrome or you're not autistic or whatever, you can't go to that clinic. They won't let you. You have to qualify as an autistic or what have you to go to this clinic, and then they have their own psychiatrist that works directly with their doctor who, and all they see is basically like autistic people and stuff like that. So that being the case, I decided to make them my primary and basically let the Veterans Administration go. And so I haven't done anything with the Veterans Administration since. But at least I was able to get that going. I also made some suggestions and so forth about quiet spaces in hospitals and so forth. For example, getting an incandescent lamp, just a simple table lamp, and put an incandescent light in there for autistic people so that if they're at the hospital or at a clinic or whatever and having sensory issues, they can basically treat them exactly like they would treat someone having a migraine. A quiet, dark place. And that's why I suggested the incandescent lamp with the, like a 15 watt bulb or 25 watt bulb or something like that. That the thing about that is you can take, anybody can buy a $5 lamp anywhere in the world. Right. And the thing is I mean, they could go to Goodwill or Walmart for $5-10 whatever, or $20, have a lamp that can be used anywhere in the hospital at any time. And so, if there is a situation where they want to isolate an autistic person, then they have that. They can just turn off the lights and plug in the lamp. So I made a bunch of different suggestions like that. Now, those I don't know that they actually paid attention to, but at least I gave it an effort. Yeah, I had a whole list of, I don't want to say grievances, but suggestions. Like that. So that's basically what I've done with the VA. And then after all that effort, I just left. But at least I found this clinic. I couldn't believe that there is a developmental health clinic, I think is what it's called. And that's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So that's pretty cool. I feel more comfortable there. I mean, I can be me. So anyway, I'm talking about narcolepsy, pot, Ehlers-Danlos, autism, ADHD. All right, Ashley, it was great talking with you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. I don't have any idea how to find this, Ashley. This is the problem. if you put the word autistic in a search for a doctor, the internet knows that the word autistic is a buzzword, and what they do is they always plug in autism with every single doctor. And the problem is they use that, and if you try to find a doctor, you get the phone, you look it up, and you put adult autism doctor, and here comes a doctor. It pops up. You call them up, and they say, we don't treat autistic people. What are you talking about? Because the internet has spammed autism with every doctor that there is. So finding a specialist is almost impossible because the internet is so totally spammed. And the way I found that clinic was I started calling every single doctor in Colorado Springs, literally going down the list, calling every single doctor, and I called one, and this is after 3 years of looking, or 2.5 years of looking. So don't get me wrong, this was not easy, but it was after 2.5 years of looking and going through the phone book like that, I finally got a hold of one lady. She's like, yeah, that's what we specialize in. And so that was really, really awesome. Oh, it is frustrating. When you need a specialist and the internet is spammed where you can't, well, yeah, that one's frustrating too. It is, but at least what I was guessing is that somebody might know somebody somewhere if I kept on calling like that, and that is exactly what ended up happening. But I just happened to land on the correct clinic. So anyway, good night, Ashley. I really do appreciate talking to you. I really did enjoy it. And you have a good evening, and tuck your wife in. Good night, Ashley. Good night. I'm sitting here playing a video game while I'm doing this. Linda Marie, good to see you. Subscription goal 1. I gotta make my subscription goal. Okay. Linda Marie.